Hello friends, welcome back to Savan Knits, my knitting podcast where I talk all about the things that I'm knitting that are bringing me joy. My name is Savannah and I live in Utah in the United States, where I am a stay-at-home mom and I love to knit and read. And my question of the day for you is, what is your favorite summer activity? It's getting warmer here in Utah, so we've been to lots of parks, we've been hiking and walks and things like that. So I would love to know what your favorite things to do in the summer are. Other places you can find me are Instagram and Ravelry, both as Savan Knits. I keep both pretty updated, and all of the links for everything that I talk about today will be in the description box down below. So that's there for you if you need it. And let's just jump right in. I have a finished object to talk to you about, and then I have 3 works in progress, 2 of which are new cast-ons that you guys haven't seen before, so I'm very excited to dive in. So this first one is what I'm wearing today. I finished my Sabrina V-Neck by Tamara Jordan, or Starcrest Knits as she is known on Instagram. This is a V-neck t-shirt. It is a DK weight with, it calls for knitting for olive silk held double, but I just did 1 strand of a DK weight yarn from Treehouse Knits in their Dove DK base, and this is the color In Bloom, which is a beautiful purplish pinkish cream variegated yarn. And I did alternate skeins for this project, but honestly I don't know if I needed to, because it is dyed so beautifully. I don't think there would have been any pooling of colors. And to be honest with you, I did do most of the sleeves without alternating just because of the short rows, and it's kind of tricky to alternate colors with short rows going back and forth. And honestly, I don't feel like you can see any pooling or anything like that. I even had some yarn chicken, and so I didn't alternate skeins towards the end because I was just using up what I had left of 1 ball, and again couldn't see any pooling. So I think that is very impressive from Treehouse Knits, that their yarn is so beautifully variegated and so beautifully dyed, at least in this colorway, that I didn't have any issues when I couldn't alternate. I used a 4mm needle for this top all the way through, except for the I-cord on the neckline, but we'll get to that later. So 2 weeks ago when I showed you this top, I think I had just barely joined the V-neck and maybe joined in the round underneath the armholes. And then once I ran out of one of my skeins of yarn, I decided to go back and do the sleeves and the neckline because I knew that I would be short on yarn, and so I wanted to make sure that the sleeves and the neckline were where I wanted them to be. The length, I knew that I would be fine if the body was cropped, but if the sleeves were too cropped, I would not wear it. I need my sleeves to be the perfect length, otherwise it just won't work. Learned that last year when I was knitting tees, and I knit one of my tees, the short sleeves were too short and I never wore it, and then I fixed the sleeves and now I wear it more. So I wanted to make sure that I got the length right. So I did the sleeves first. As I said, I didn't alternate skeins because it's mostly just short rows back and forth, because it is a set-in sleeve that goes all the way down. This was also my first time doing a folded hem, and she does recommend a purl row at the bottom here, and then you knit some more and then sew it down, but I just don't like how the purl row looks. I feel like it makes it look a little bulky and unfinished for my taste. So I didn't do the purl row, I just knit to the length that I wanted and then folded up and sewed it down. And I honestly think I was overthinking the sewing down portion a little bit. I thought it was going to be way harder, and I thought maybe I was doing it wrong, but I think I did okay. I think it would have been easier to add in a lifeline or like a thread along the row so I would know where to sew it down to, because it did get a little bit difficult knowing where to sew down throughout the armhole. So I kind of wish I would have done that, but I think it turned out great just how it is. But for the future, I'm gonna file that away so I can do that. Make my life a little bit easier. Also for the sleeves, I did not do any of the decreases that it suggests. I found that they were fitting just fine without the decreases. So I think I did one and then that was it. So I'm happy about that. I am very happy with the length when blocking because this is superwash yarn. I was a little bit worried that the sleeves would grow to be too long, but I think they are absolute perfect length for me. So very happy about that. After the sleeves, I then went back to do the I-cord neckline here, and I followed the pattern for that, used 4mm needles, a 3-stitch I-cord, and then left it. And then after blocking, I really tried my best not to stretch out this neckline. I scrunched it a lot and make sure that I didn't stretch it when I was pinning out the tee, but holy smokes, did the neckline grow a ton, like all the way down. It was a plunging neckline after I had finished, and if I pulled up the front to where it is now and pulled down the back, it worked, but then I had that problem of the front was way too short and the back was way too long, and this set and shoulder sleeve was not lining up with my shoulder. So I ended up ripping out that I-cord after I had blocked it, and I went all the way down to a 2.25mm needle, the smallest needle size that I have. And I did the I-cord again, but I did a 2-stitch I-cord this time just because I wanted to make sure I had enough yarn, because I was reusing the same yarn for the I-cord that I had ripped out. And so I didn't want to, I don't know, be playing yarn chicken again. And so I did the smallest needle I could find, did it very tightly, a 2-stitch, because I feel like the 3-stitch I-cord was a little bit thick for my liking, and now it works perfectly. It pulled it in perfectly, and I don't feel like there's any like gathering or puckering or anything like that. So if you end up making this pattern, my recommendation would to be go down a needle size or 2 or 3 or 4 for the I-cord neckline. And she even says that in the pattern that a lot of testers had to go down a needle size because the I-cord was too loose, and I did not follow those directions. I should have, but that's okay. It worked out in the end. I like how the neckline is now. After the whole neckline finished the first time, I went back and did the body, alternated skeins for most of it. There is a lot of body shaping available in this pattern. There is bust shaping, there's waist shaping, there's hip shaping. I didn't do any of it. I just knit straight down, did the folded hem, that was it. I definitely have made it more cropped than I would have. If I would have had another skein of yarn, I would have gone a lot longer on this shirt, but this is a limited edition hand-dyed yarn that's not easy to get. So I ran out of yarn. I used every last scrap that I could, and it is a wearable length. I think that I probably would wear this more if it were longer, but it is nice to have a shorter cropped V-neck because I find that it goes really well with a cotton skirt that I wear a lot in the summer. I find it looks really good with that. And then I usually just wear biker shorts when it's really hot, and they're high-waisted enough that I can wear this tee without any issues. So that's okay. It's fine. I used all the yarn that I could, out of my control, but I'm still happy with the finished tee. And I am grateful that it is superwash yarn because before blocking, this tee was even shorter, and I was really worried that I wouldn't even be able to wear it, but it did grow a lot with blocking, and I bet the next time that I wash it, I maybe could squeeze out a little bit more length. I'm just a little bit worried about stretching the fabric because I really don't want this neckline to be any lower, so I would definitely have to measure this neckline, pin that out, and then try to stretch the rest of the body without messing with this. So I'll probably do that in the future whenever I wash this again, just kind of experiment to see if I can get any more length out of it. Also with the hem at the bottom, I also did not do the purl row for the hem. I like how that looks, and I really do like the look of folded hem, but man, does it take forever. It takes even longer for me than a tubular or Italian bind off. And honestly, I don't really know if it's worth it all of the time. I do like how the folded hem looks, but it was a long, frustrating process for me, and it's my first time doing it, so I'm sure it'll get better, or at least tolerate it better in the future. But as for right now, I don't want to see a folded hem for a long time. So overall, I am happy with this project. I'm excited to see how much I will wear it, and I really do love the color, especially with my skin tone, hair color, all of that. I think it looks great on me, and I love how the variegation worked up. It's not too contrasty. I feel like from afar it just looks like a really pretty light purple, and then up close it has more of that interest with the different shades. So I'm really happy with the yarn. The fabric is really drapey and light, and I can see myself wearing this a lot. I started this on May 11th and finished it on the 23rd, so it took me 13 days, which is very speedy. I want to update you guys on my blanket, one of my blanket whips. This is a kit from Unravelled. They sent me this blanket kit to try out and review, and I'm using the yarn that they sent me, which is their Uno, which is a alpaca, wool, and polyamide blend, and it is a chainette yarn. Very soft and squishy and light. And this is the color Vitality, their kit Vitality. So there's a dark gray, a light gray, and then a mustard yellow color. I'm using 5.5mm needles, these wooden needles that they also send with the kit. They're the Chiaogu bamboo needles. They're not my favorite. I find that they are a little bit sticky with the cord. Technically, they do have like this swivel cord here, but it just sticks a little bit, and the cord isn't as flexible as the red lace. But that's okay. I'm just doing a blanket. It's not like I'm doing cabling or color work or anything that would make this more annoying. So I have finished the dark gray color, and now I am on the light gray. Not very far into it. Also, it is summertime. I don't really want to be knitting with an alpaca wool blanket on my lap. So I'm just chipping away at this whenever I can. So yeah, this is my update. I started this on April 29th, so I've been working on it for 1 month. And I also should say that this is just a garter stitch blanket. There's not really anything fancy about it. It does have an I-cord edge right there. Very soft yarn, and I love the squish factor. I'm also a little bit worried that it's going to be small. I am not sure if it's supposed to be this small because I only have 2 more colors, right? So technically a third of this blanket is done, and once I finish 2 more colors of this same width, I feel like it's going to be like a baby blanket size, or at least a very small throw size. I don't know what my gauge is supposed to be because the pattern that they give you doesn't have a gauge listed in there. This is a pattern for beginners, so maybe that's why, but I don't know if I'm knitting way tighter than I need to be, if this blanket should be a lot bigger, or if this is just the size that it should be. I also realize that this is made of mostly alpaca, so I'm sure that it will grow when I block it, which I am a little bit hoping for so that it can be a bigger blanket, but we'll see. In my last episode, I was toying with what I should cast on next for my portable project, and I decided to do the Helical Socks, and it's a tutorial from Earth Tones Girl here on YouTube, and I can link that down below if you would like to check it out. And I already have one sock finished, It hasn't been blocked yet, so it is a little wonky, but here it is. It's a shorty sock. I did a 64 stitch cast on, 2.25 millimeter needle. I am using, the blue is Drops Fable in gray blue, and the white is Cascade Yarns Heritage in snow. So I did a cuff with 8 rows of 1x1 twisted rib, and this whole leg from cuff to heel is 1.5 inches. And then this was my first time trying a different heel. I have always wanted to try Earth Tones Girl Shadow Wrap heel, and she has in this tutorial that you can use the helical knitting for either a short row heel, the shadow wrap heel, or a heel flap and gusset. And so I thought I might as well try a new heel while I'm at it. So I did this shadow wrap heel, and I love how it looks. It looks so clean and beautiful. One of my, I don't want to say pet peeve, but I don't love how socks look, how contrast heels look in heel flap and gusset. It just, I want the roundness of the heel to show when I'm doing a contrasting color. And so I think if I ever do have plans for a contrasting heel, I will use the shadow wrap heel because I think it looks a lot better than the kind of disjointed like straight section of the heel flap, and then the heel turn on the bottom is just a tiny little spot. Like it doesn't look proportional to me, and I'm a little bit nitpicky about that, I guess. So I'm really happy with how this heel turned out. I haven't worn these for a long period of time, so I don't know how comfortable they will be. Obviously, I've heard that heel flap and gusset is the most form-fitting and kind of hugs your ankle and fits really well in that way. So we'll have to see with the shadow wrap heel how that works. But to be honest, I wear most of my socks either with sandals or if I'm going out or just around the house, so I don't need them to fit super well. And honestly, the aesthetic of what this looks like probably beats out the heel flap and gusset for me. So after this heel, then you just do the helical knitting, which is honestly really fun and really easy to do. You just get in a groove, and it's really easy to know when to change colors and all of that. And it doesn't really give you any lines at all. I mean, you probably can see this little faint line right there, and I think that's just from me doing magic loop and my ladders just being a little bit wonky with the helical knitting. But yeah, it's basically just building rows on top of each other. So I really enjoy how that looks. And then I did a contrast toe. So I finished this sock so fast, and then I started the next sock. So I am this much in, just working on the foot right now. Same shadow wrap heel, which I think this one looks better than the other one, just because it's my second time doing it and I kind of knew what I was doing. So yeah, I just really wanted, I have a lot of stockinette projects right now, and I really wanted something that would capture my interest a little bit more, so that's why I chose these helical socks. It's still stockinette, but you have that helical striping and the new heel to learn. So I think that this was the perfect time for me to cast these on. I was always so running with the hype of this tutorial being newly released, and so it's fun to just jump on that hype train. I started these on May 19th, and so I have been working on them for 1 week and 3 days. My last work in progress to show you is a new tee. I am doing the Avenue Tee by Tori Yu. This is actually my 3rd or 4th pattern by Tori Yu, and I really enjoy her patterns. She's very good at writing very efficiently with not a ton of information, but enough to get you through without any questions. So I really enjoy that. This pattern comes with both a round neck and a V-neck option. I am still in my V-neck tee era, so I'm doing the V-neck option, which I really love, and I don't think I will have to mess with the neckline being too low from looking at the sample pictures and other Ravelry project pictures, it does look like this V-neck is a little bit higher than the Sabrina V-neck, so I'm excited about that. And there's also a little bit of ribbing around the neckline, so I can also add a little bit more ribbing if I do need the neckline to be a little bit higher for me. So that's a very good option. This is a tee that's knit in fingering weight yarn. I am making a size 4. I'm using 3.5mm needles, and I am using that pink speckled yarn that I showed in my last podcast episode. This is from Woolly Mama Yarns, her 4-ply merino sock, and the color Darling, which is a pink and white kind of variegated yarn with some pink or purple and green speckles in it. I'm also alternating skeins for this tee as well, just to make sure the speckles are evenly distributed as I can. And let me show you where I'm at. So I have just barely started, and this is a contiguous shoulder construction, I think. It doesn't exactly say in the pattern, I don't think, or maybe I missed it, but it's unlike any other construction I've ever seen before. But I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I have the back. This is the back of the neck. And then on the top of the shoulder, it has this little detail right here. And then it moves into the sleeve right here. And it's very easy, just done with normal increases, no short rows, at least so far. And as you can tell from all of these markers, I'm still doing some increases, and eventually I am sure that I will be joining for the V-neck something like this when I have enough stitches. So yeah, and I have really found it to be very meditative and enjoyable to work a fingering weight tee. I thought that it would feel like a slog, but it really hasn't. It has felt very light to work on. I mean, the fabric is very light, and it's really fun to see, you know, where the speckles line up and everything. I'm really enjoying it. I am hoping that with the superwash that it won't grow too much, that it will be see-through, but I think it will be okay. My yarn is a little bit thinner than what she recommends in the pattern, but also I think that it will work really well if it is a lighter fabric, more breathable, especially with it being a wool and superwash wool and nylon blend. So there's not much more to say about this because I am just in the beginning process of it, but I started this on May 24th, so I've been working on it for 6 days now. I don't have any acquisitions this time, but I do have a little bit of a reading and watching update if that is interesting for you. So I have finished 2 books in the past 2 weeks. The first one is The Shadow Bride by Shelby Mahurin. This is the sequel to The Scarlet Veil. It is a YA paranormal fantasy with some romance, and I did not love the sequel as much as I loved the first book. I feel like the tension was kind of lost, and some of the character decisions, naivety, just things like that annoyed me a little bit, but I still mostly enjoyed it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. My second book that I finished, I finished The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. This is the last book in his Mistborn Era 2 series, and it was a very worthy conclusion. I feel it had a lot of action throughout this book, a lot of big plot twists, and I think that the characters ended up where they should be, if that makes sense. And yeah, overall enjoyed this one as well. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. As for watching update, I've been watching Clarkson Farm, the new season that just came out. Is it season 3 or season 4? I can't remember. I want to say 3, but it's just very funny. This Jeremy Clarkson used to be a car journalist for Top Gear and the Grand Tour, and after those finished, he decided to go back to his farm and become a farmer, but also in a reality TV way show all of the stupid mistakes he makes along the way. He's just a very funny guy, and his ideas with farming are just chaotic and really fun to watch, but it's also fun to see sides of farming that I haven't seen before, especially with the difference between United States farming and farming in the UK. He's in the Cotswolds, I believe. So seeing those differences are cool, and it's just one of those shows that you're laughing a lot. And I need those shows right now in my life. So I've been enjoying that one as well. And with that, I think that is everything for today. If you've made it this far, a huge thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to answer the question of the day if you would like, or tell me what you're working on, either one. And I hope you guys are finding joy in what you're knitting. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.